Hello friends, welcome back. Would you like to move to Canada? Or maybe you would like to travel to Canada, maybe go on a holiday to Canada, but you don't know what Canadians are like. In this video lesson, you will hear from a Canadian things you should know before moving or traveling to Canada. To help me talk about moving to Canada, about things you should know before moving or traveling to Canada, I've invited Dana from Can Learn English to talk to us a little bit about this topic. As Dana is from Canada, she has a lovely Canadian accent. You will hear both the Canadian and Australian accent talking a little bit about moving and traveling to Canada. Now, before we hear from Dana, I would love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments below this video, would you like to move to Canada, travel to Canada, or maybe go on a holiday to Canada? Tell me in the comments below this video. Friends, this video lesson is made possible thanks to our members in the Using English TP Classroom. The Using English TP Classroom is a virtual online classroom and community connecting English learners from around the world and teaching them real English. By listening to natural conversations like this natural conversation, members learn grammar, phrasal verbs, idioms through lesson sets. Members have received structured lesson sets to improve their listening skills, reading skills, to improve their vocabulary, to learn grammar, and to improve their level of English, to improve their confidence speaking in English. Join us in the Using English TP Classroom by clicking the link just above here. Okay, back on topic, and let's hear from Dana. Let's hear about the things you should know before moving or traveling to Canada. Can you tell us a little bit about, I don't know, if I were to go to Canada or if I wanted to move to Canada tomorrow, what do I need to know?
You need to know so much. Like, it depends on where you're coming from, what you're doing, what your plans are. I mean, what I notice with a lot of people that are moving to Canada, their instinct is to head straight for Vancouver or to head to Toronto. And like, these are kind of the most famous cities in Canada, but they're also the most expensive. So if you move to Vancouver, like, it has the most expensive housing in the whole country. And the rent is expensive, to buy a house is expensive, like, the living in general is really, really expensive. So I think, your first thing that you need to do is decide where you want to go, but you also need to look at your budget and your goals.
Okay, when you tell me I need to decide where to go, like, I have an image of Canada as being, I personally don't like snow. So it's beautiful, don't get me wrong, but I wouldn't want to go somewhere where it's snowing all the time. It is a misconception that it snows everywhere in Canada, or for me, somebody who doesn't like snow, where would you recommend that I move to?
Yeah, well, it does snow like in the wintertime all across Canada. In Vancouver, and this is why a lot of people are attracted to Vancouver, it's kind of more mild than the rest of Canada. So during the winter, maybe you'll have 4 degrees, which is like the lowest it'll drop down to. It does snow occasionally, but then you have like a wet winter. So you have to keep in mind that, like, it might not be snowing, but it'll be raining and it'll be cold. It's not as hot in the summer in Vancouver either. Their highs are usually like in the low 20s. So in other parts of Canada, you'll get like a really nice hot summer, but in Vancouver you don't. So it just depends. The more north you go, the more snow you get. So if you're going to head into the province of Quebec, if you're going to Ottawa, there's a province called Manitoba, and the capital, we call it Winnipeg because it's freezing. So, you can stay in the south of Ontario or go to Vancouver if you want to kind of skip the massive dumping of snow.
Okay, but what industries do you have in Canada? If somebody's looking to migrate for work purposes, what job opportunities can somebody find there? I'm assuming that weather and food aren't the main reason somebody would want to go to move to Canada.
Yeah, there's like tons of different industries. The tech sector is really big in Toronto at the moment. I think this has a lot to do with kind of Silicon Valley experiencing troubles with the immigration side of things with the state of the US right now. So a lot of tech companies are kind of moving over to Toronto. So that's a really good opportunity. I believe there's a new Google campus going in, and it's going to be like its own little village near Toronto. So that's a great industry. We also have an oil industry out in the west coast of Canada in Alberta, and they have some really good programs, well, in Alberta and Saskatchewan, which are two western provinces that have skilled trades visas. So this is where you can immigrate based on you having a skilled trade to work within the forestry or the oil industry there.
And how, I'm assuming that many people listening or watching, they're English learners. And how important is English or French? Okay, is English, French, what languages does somebody need to know when traveling, moving abroad to Canada?
Yeah, well, English is the most widely spoken language. We are a bilingual country, so we have French and English as our two official languages, but most of the country speaks English. It is important to have a decent level of English because this is our main language of communication. For becoming a Canadian citizen, you have to have what we call the Canadian language benchmark of 4. I'm not exactly sure what this translates into IELTS. There's a converter online. Maybe I'll send you the link and you can put it below. But this is what's required to get Canadian citizenship. And then for some of the skilled trades visas, you would need about a 6 or a 7 for different ones for speaking and writing. So it is important. And then to go to university in Canada, you obviously need to pass the IELTS exam or take the Canadian equivalent. So it's very important to have your English up to standards.
Okay, learning a language is one thing. What about cultural differences? And so I know that there are some differences in word choice that you and I use.
Yeah.
But okay, apart from word differences, maybe some sort of cultural differences which you may have experienced, or I know that you've lived in Brazil, in Switzerland, in Canada, maybe how people interact or do daily things that you would suggest to somebody looking to move to Canada.
Yeah, definitely. Like, Canadians are very polite people. It's almost like we're too polite. So the big joke in Canada is like, if someone bumps into you, you will apologize. If someone asks you for directions and you don't know, you tell them that you're sorry. So this is a word that's thrown around in Canada all the time. Like, oh, I'm sorry, can you help me? Like, you apologize for everything. We're also very multicultural and very progressive. So, you know, people bring their cultures from all over the world. And part of like the Canadian way of thinking is just to accept everyone as they come to Canada, which I think is really cool. I like that about Canada a lot.
Interesting. So say somebody, okay, so I'm living in Croatia at the moment, and I don't know, I want to eat Croatian food I'm from Australia. This sounds strange, me putting myself in this situation. But say, I don't know, somebody from Croatia, somebody from Sri Lanka, somebody from Russia, somebody from Taiwan, they're looking to move to Canada and they really want to eat their local cuisine. Will they be able to find it, or?
Yeah, absolutely. There's like I love going to Canada to eat international food because there's everything. And even in areas of Toronto, you've got Little Italy, you've got Little Portugal, you've got Chinatown. So I think one great thing and I know a lot of people that have moved to Canada, it can hinder them a little bit because it's really easy to connect with, you know, people from your nationality. So if you're Brazilian, you're going to find a ton of Brazilian friends anywhere in Canada. So it's good because you're meeting people from your culture, but it doesn't help so much with English.
It's the same in Australia. I understand. So anybody watching, listening, if you're an English learner, don't move away. Venture out a little bit.
Yeah.
This is normal. But Dana, do you do the same? I know that even living abroad in Croatia, I always look for the Aussies out there. So I'm a victim of this as well.
One thing that's like, it's really tough to find Canadians abroad. I find this in every country that I live. Like, I guess Canadians like to stay in Canada. So we don't really venture out in terms of like being expats. Like, the whole time that I've lived abroad, I rarely meet a Canadian. And we're also, I don't know what the population of Australia is, but the population of Canada is 35 million. So
Oh,
There's not a
wow.
ton of us.
Yes.
We're tiny little.
Interesting. To finish up with, I know living standards. So at the beginning, you talked a little bit about cost of living is very expensive in Vancouver and in Toronto. But tax, I know a lot of people, tax rates, if you don't mind answering this a little bit, but a lot of people are worried about, okay, how much will it cost me to buy food, bread, milk, I don't know, rent? In general, what are tax rates for it like? And how much is a monthly living? How much does a person need to live relatively okay in Canada?
Yeah, like I would say like a family of four would spend at least $250 Canadian dollars on groceries a month, as long as you're shopping, you know, conservatively and you're not overdoing it. A lot of the like the produce and any kind of healthy food, as long as it doesn't have a package, doesn't have a tax on it in Canada. So if you buy broccoli, you're not going to be taxed. But anything else like cookies, you're paying. It depends on the province because we have a government sales tax and a provincial sales tax, but it's usually I think around 13 or 15%.
Interesting. In Australia, it's 10% goods and service, GST, we call it.
Yeah, we call it that too, GST, and then we have PST, which is
Provincial?
provincial sales tax. Yeah,
Ah,
and then in Ontario, they harmonize them, so they put them together, and it's called a harmonized sales tax. But that's one thing that you need to be kind of conscious of if you're going to a store and you're going to buy a shirt or you're buying anything. The sales tax gets added at the till, so it's not actually going to be how much it is on the price tag.
I hate that.
Yeah,
Sorry, I don't understand that. So how do you, even in the supermarket, or is this
even in
only,
the supermarket, yeah.
but I don't know, when I go shopping, I have a list and then I like to calculate all the prices. So then doesn't this make your life harder? Why don't they just put it on the label?
I don't know why they don't put it on the. I really don't know. Maybe it's to save labels. I don't know. I don't know what.
Oh, interesting. Thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't know. I've heard
Yeah,
about
so you need
this.
to be careful. You're going to pay, and it kind of, it's not great when it's like a big ticket item. If you're buying a television, it's going to add up to
Wow.
quite a lot more than what you thought was on the price tag.
Interesting. One more question. I know, say, at the moment I'm living in Croatia, and a lot of people ask me, okay, if I move to Australia tomorrow, will I be able to find a job? It's relatively, in Australia, I know, say, even if me and my husband were to move tomorrow back to Australia, it'd be relatively easy for us to find a casual job or a part-time job. We wouldn't have a fantastic job, maybe not in our field of studies, but say, be that working at a supermarket or coffee shop. Well, I hope. I hope would be able to find something. What about in Canada? Is it easy to find a casual or part-time job to get you by until you find a job in your profession?
Yeah, absolutely. Whenever, my students, if I was teaching them remotely over the internet, they'd, go looking for a job. And most of them do find something in food service or at a shopping mall. And, a lot of them really like this because they say, this is my opportunity to improve my English because you're going to be talking to customers and speaking to people. And then they can, maybe look for something more tied to their field once they feel like their English has improved a little bit. But the unemployment rate in Canada is relatively low. It's not, extremely difficult to find a job.
Oh, fantastic. Okay, I know I said to finish up a while back, but one more tip. Living abroad is hard. Anybody that moves abroad, I don't know, it's fun, it's exciting, but there are some challenges. Do you have a tip to share with anybody who is looking to move abroad to Canada? Some tip to help them move more easily to Canada?
Yeah, I would say, don't worry about bringing too much stuff with you. Whenever I moved abroad, I, decided I would go buy new things, and I'm like, I need to have a neutral wardrobe, and I need this, this, and this. But I think when you move abroad, you kind of want to fit in, and the weather is different than you expected. So, don't worry about like shipping a container or packing your suitcases full or spending money on stuff that you feel like you should bring with you. Maybe bring a few items that remind you of home, things that you like that you can put in your new apartment, pictures of your family, decorative items. But when it comes to clothing, you're going to need to adapt your wardrobe anyway. So I wouldn't invest too much in bringing it over with you.
if you struggle to follow the video lesson, make sure to watch the lesson one more time, but this time turn on subtitles. Remember friends to join the discussion in the comments below this video and tell me, would you like to move or travel to Canada, and if so, why? A special thanks to Dana from Can Learn English for taking the time to talk to us about this topic. If you would like to learn more about traveling, moving and learning English in Canada, make sure to check out Dana's channel by clicking the button just here. Remember friends, if you like this video lesson, make sure to like it, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so that you get the latest lessons I post here on my YouTube channel, and be a good friend. Help your friends learning English by sharing this video lesson with them. Thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you in the discussion in the comments below this video. Bye for now.